What if a single act of unwavering faith could defy time itself, turning a desperate escape into an eternal miracle witnessed by generations? In the shadowed annals of ancient history, where tyranny gripped the hearts of men and idols loomed, like silent tyrants over a misguided people, there unfolded a tale so profound that it echoes through the ages as a beacon of divine protection and unyielding belief. Long ago, in a sprawling kingdom dominated by a ruthless monarch whose pride knew no bounds, the land was steeped in darkness, not of night, but of the soul. The people, once perhaps seekers of truth, had succumbed to the allure of false gods, carving idols from unyielding stone and bowing before them in futile reverence. These lifeless statues, cold and mute, offered no solace, no guidance, no power to alter fates or mend broken lives. Yet the king, swollen with arrogance and cruelty, decreed that all must worship these idols or face his wrath, imprisonment, torture, or death. His religion was not one of enlightenment, but of control, a web of fear that ensnared the masses, compelling them to forsake the one true creator for shadows of their own making. Amid this oppressive veil, in the heart of the bustling city where markets hummed with the chatter of merchants and streets teemed with the footsteps of the fearful, there dwelled a small band of young men. They were not ordinary youths. They hailed from esteemed families, blessed with strength of body, sharpness of mind, and a nobility that shone through their demeanor. Raised in the midst of this idolatry, they had witnessed the absurdity of it all, their elders prostrating before carvings that could neither hear pleas nor extend a hand in aid. Deep within their hearts, a quiet rebellion stirred, a conviction that refused to bend. One fateful day, as the sun dipped low and cast long shadows over the idol-laden temples, one of the young men gathered his companions in a secluded corner, away from prying eyes. His voice, though hushed, carried the weight of profound truth. How can we continue to worship these lifeless things? They cannot hear our cries, cannot see our struggles, cannot offer us even a whisper of help. Our true Lord is Allah alone, the Almighty Creator who fashioned the heavens, the earth, and every soul that breathes upon it. The others, their faces etched with the same inner turmoil, nodded in solemn agreement. They had long pondered these very thoughts in the silence of their nights, wrestling with the fear of discovery. Indeed, another replied, his eyes alight with newfound resolve. Allah is the one who sustains us, who knows the secrets of our hearts. These idols are but dust and deception. Yet the peril was real. The king's spies lurked in every shadow, and dissent was met with swift retribution. If the king learns of our beliefs, whispered a third, his voice trembling with caution, he will have us seized, tormented, perhaps even thrown to the flames as an example to others. The group fell into a contemplative silence, the air thick with the gravity of their predicament. Then, the first speaker, his spirit unbroken, declared with quiet determination, "Then we have no choice but to flee. We cannot allow our faith to be eroded by this corruption. Better to abandon all we know than to betray our Lord." With hearts heavy yet resolute, they made their pact under the cover of twilight. They slipped away from the city that night, leaving behind the comforts of home, the warmth of familial hearths, the laughter of loved ones, the familiarity of streets they had wandered since childhood. All this they sacrificed for the purity of their belief in Allah, trusting that He would provide where worldly ties could not. Their journey was arduous, a trek across rugged hills blanketed in thorny underbrush, through dense forests where wild beasts prowled and the wind whispered warnings. Exhaustion clawed at them, hunger gnawed at their bellies, but their faith fueled each step, a silent prayer on their lips for divine guidance. After what felt like an eternity of wandering, they stumbled upon a secluded mountain, its slopes rising like a sentinel against the horizon. Tucked within its rocky embrace was a hidden cave, dark, chilled by the earth's cool breath, and utterly isolated from the world below. It was no palace, no haven of luxury, but in its emptiness lay safety, a refuge from the king's unyielding gaze. The young men entered the cave, their footsteps echoing softly against the stone walls. They huddled together, sharing what little provisions remained, and turned their faces toward the heavens in earnest supplication. "O our Lord," they prayed in unison, their voices blending into a harmonious plea, "bestow upon us your mercy and prepare for us from our affair right guidance." In that moment of vulnerability, as fatigue overtook them, Allah responded in a way beyond mortal comprehension. He enveloped them in a profound, serene slumber, a sleep so deep that it transcended the ordinary, shielding them from the ravages of time and the world's chaos. Days melted into weeks, weeks into months, and months stretched into centuries. Outside the cave, the sun continued its eternal dance across the sky, rising in glory and setting in quiet splendor. Seasons cycled relentlessly. Springs bloomed with life, summers scorched the earth, autumns painted leaves in hues of gold, and winters blanketed the land in frost. Empires rose and fell. The tyrannical king who had once terrorized the people met his end, his idols crumbling to forgotten ruins. The very society that had shunned truth evolved new generations emerging who embraced faith in Allah. Their hearts turned toward monotheism and righteousness. All the while, within the cave's protective womb, the young men slumbered undisturbed. Their youthful faces retained a peaceful glow, unmarred by wrinkles or weariness. Their bodies, preserved by divine will, showed no signs of decay. No hunger withered them, no thirst parched their throats, no illness dared approach. Allah Himself stood as their guardian, a testament to His promise that those who seek refuge in Him shall find it unbreakable. Then, after 309 years, though to them it felt like mere moments, by Allah's command, they stirred from their miraculous repose. Blinking against the dim light filtering through the cave's entrance, they gazed at one another in bewilderment. "How long have we slept?" one inquired, rubbing his eyes as if emerging from a brief nap. "Perhaps a day," suggested another, stretching, his limbs that felt as vital as ever. "Or maybe only part of a day," added a third, his voice laced with uncertainty. The cave appeared unchanged, the air still cool and still, yet an inexplicable sense of disorientation lingered. Hunger now gnawed at them, a reminder of their human frailty. "We must eat," one proposed. "Let one of us venture to the city for food, but with utmost caution, lest the king's men still hunt us." They pooled their meager resources, handing their companion an ancient silver coin from their era, its edges worn but its value enduring. "Bring back the purest sustenance you can find," they urged, "and reveal nothing of our whereabouts." Hisake, young man, descended the mountain, his heart pounding with a mix of apprehension and resolve. As he approached the city gates, a wave of confusion washed over him. The once familiar skyline had transformed. Grander structures pierced the sky, adorned with unfamiliar banners fluttering in the breeze. The people milling about wore garments of styles he had never seen, fabrics dyed in vibrant colors, cuts that spoke of a different age. The streets, widened and paved with smoother stones, buzzed with a language that carried echoes of his own, but laced with new idioms. He made his way to a modest shop, the aroma of fresh bread and spices drawing him in. Extending the silver coin to the shopkeeper, he requested provisions humbly. But the merchant's eyes widened in astonishment, turning the coin over in his weathered hands. "Where on earth did you acquire this relic?" he exclaimed, his voice drawing curious onlookers. "This is no ordinary currency. It's from an era long past, hundreds of years old, minted in the time of the old kings." Whispers rippled through. The gathering crowd, eyes fixed on the stranger whose attire seemed plucked from history books. Questions flew like arrows. "Who are you? From whence do you come?" The young man, his own shock mirroring theirs, stammered an explanation of his companions and their flight from persecution. Word spread like wildfire through the city, igniting awe and wonder. Messengers raced to the leaders, scholars pored over ancient scrolls, and soon the entire populace buzzed with the revelation. These were the legendary companions of the cave, the faithful youths who had vanished centuries ago, preserved as a divine sign. The people flocked to the mountain, their hearts stirred by the miracle. In an age now enlightened by belief in Allah, the young men's emergence was hailed as proof of his power, a honor bestowed upon them in the full light of day, just as they had endured darkness for his sake. No longer fugitives, they were celebrated as symbols of steadfast faith, their story woven into the fabric of collective memory. It served as an enduring reminder that true belief demands courage, that trusting Allah in the face of adversity yields rewards beyond imagination. Even when the world seems arrayed against you, when isolation threatens to overwhelm, Allah's protection is absolute. He safeguards the sincere in ways unseen, turning impossible trials into timeless testimonies. The moral resonates eternally. Stand firm for truth even if you stand alone, for Allah abandons not those who place their trust in Him. He elevates them, preserves them, and honors them in the most extraordinary of circumstances, proving that faith is the ultimate victor over time, tyranny, and doubt.